Hey everybody, welcome back to Jamia's Promo, and today we will be taking a look at the brand new FlashForge Adventure 4 3D printer. Now, I am a brand new 3D printer type of a guy. I've always wanted a 3D printer, so everything that you're going to hear and see in this video is from the side of a beginner, a first-time user with a 3D printer. Now, I've been looking at a bunch of different 3D printers for multiple years, didn't really know exactly which one to get, what to look for. All I do know is that there was some out there that had a lot of assembly required, and I wasn't really looking at that. Also, some of them were open and just there with a lot of moving parts, and so this one is all encased. It's an enclosure, which also helps the prints because it is going to be a constant temperature on the inside, so you're going to have a constant print just because it's all enclosed, basically kind of like an oven. Now, the other things I'm also excited about is that it does have a HEPA filter on the inside, and it does come with a big spool of PLA filament, so this way it's not going to be stinky. And with that HEPA filter, it's going to help out if you have pets or little ones running around the house. There's also not a lot of moving parts with it that anybody can get hurt with. It's really just the magnetic bed that it's moving itself, and also too, it's because it's all enclosed, everything should be safe and secure. Now, the other thing I love about it is that there was no assembly required when it comes to this one. Literally brought it out of the box, set it on the table, plugged it in. You can either do it with Wi-Fi or with Ethernet, and then this way you'd be able to pull out that foam from the inside, and then you can start printing. Now, for anybody who owns the previous model of the Adventurer 3, the printing size now of the Adventurer 4 is double that size. So it's 220 by 200 by 250 millimeter. So at any point in this video, if you guys are interested in this printer and you want to learn more, you want to take a look at the website of where you can purchase, I will be placing a link below the video inside of the description. So a quick look at just a couple things I've printed, and we'll actually get a much closer look at these so you guys can see it later in the video, but I wanted to make something that was functional. So I printed off a clip and a buckle, and it's actually really cool to see something that you can print that you can also use in real life. I also printed this little guy off too, and it did a really good job. It's basically came out perfect. Even the word front on the very front of this, you can feel that it's exactly the way it's supposed to feel. It's extruding out, and also too, it's super smooth. I had to do nothing with this. There was no sanding, there was no prying, there was no clipping, there was nothing to clean. Everything was round, and it all just feels really good. What it is, I have no idea, but it basically came out perfect. And then I just got done printing this guy as well. So it is a billiards pool table, and so I'll be giving you guys a closer look at this one as well too. It almost kind of looks like venom popping out of this thing. That's actually pretty sick. Now, I do want to give a big thank you to FlashForge for sending off this Adventure 4 3D printer. Now, this is only for my review purposes. Everything in this video is based off of my own experience as a beginner, my views, and my thoughts. But again, thank you for FlashForge for sending off this 3D printer for today's review. So here's everything I've printed so far, and it's in order of the print, and I do have another one over here that's much larger. I just wanted to show you guys pretty much the outcome of everything that I've printed as a beginner. So I am still learning, and I'm trying to figure stuff out between, printing it standard, printing it as fine, changing the temperatures of the print and everything else. So for the very first thing ever printed, this was a sphere, a ball. I wanted to see how well it would do creating something that was round. And so you can see at the very beginning, it was kind of finding its ground. There was nothing I did before this. Literally turned it on, I plugged it in, turned it on, and then I just chose something to print, and then we went for it. So this is the first time using the filament, going through everything, finding, I'm pretty sure the Adventurer 4 was finding its steps, its route. It was basically configuring itself as it was printing this. So the very beginning of it was not perfect, but right after that, it did a really good job at creating a sphere. So I'm going to kind of cancel this one out in terms of waiting to see if it was perfect, because towards the middle to the end, it did exactly what it should be doing. And then as for the second piece, this one did a perfect job. The word front is printed exactly the way it should, and it feels really good. Everything about this is just super smooth, very clean lines. And so, this is when it was doing its thing. It was in its groove. It did everything literally perfect. So I'm very happy of the result of this one as well. Don't really know what this thing is used for, but it was on there as a choice to print. And that was the second one printed. Again, very clean lines, very smooth. This next one was I wanted to do a buckle and a clip, basically. So what I did was I found one on the FlashForge Cloud website. And so I went through and then I printed these ones. So one of these I actually printed, I believe, at 220 degrees Celsius. The other one was 205. And they both came out really well. I'm still trying to learn exactly what the heat and the temperatures is going to make a difference on either of these two, but they did a really good job. Everything came off the way it was supposed to come off. The only thing I did was I made the buckle about 1% too small. So it does get really close, but I just missed it by about maybe 1%. So this way I don't have it functional just yet, but I will be going through reprinting this one over here, just one size a little bit bigger. So then this way I can have this one fully functional, but it looks good. It's smooth where it's supposed to be smooth. Everything came off the way I thought it was going to come off, and it was actually a really fun print. Now for this next one, I don't really know exactly what happened to this one. It could have just been the upload and maybe the slicing didn't go perfect. But as I was pulling this thing off, the tail did break off, and that was my fault. So it was supposed to be sitting like this, but that was my bad on pulling it off. I think this would have came off a better print if it was larger. So this way it would be able to go through and also get the details much more fine, much more smooth, a little bit bigger. Then also I wouldn't be breaking the tail if it was also just a little bit larger. But again, it's really not that bad for trying to do something that was, a lot of detail for the first time printing and still learning all of this stuff. So I will be coming through with another video in the future of, how I've evolved with all of the printing, but it is actually very easy to use this printer. Now here's the next one, and also here is the magnetic board. And basically what you'll do is you'll bend this, so then you'd be able to loosen up everything on the bottom, so you'd be able to, take this off. Now this one as well, it didn't do a perfect job with the pool stick. So it's supposed to be a pool stick here and a pool stick there. And so what I could have done was printed this one as fine, and I could have made it better. But I went as standard just because this one was larger, and it was taking 9 hours and 45 minutes to print. So this one printed as I was sleeping. I felt comfortable with it doing that as I was sleeping because I printed all the rest of the models before this. The table legs kind of got meshed in with what was holding the table up with all those other parts, but I do actually kind of like the way it came off. I'm going to take the pool sticks off of here, but I'm going to leave some of these stems on the bottom just because it kind of reminds me of Venom, coming out of a pool table, or basically blending in with a pool table, if that is something he's able to do. My son was very intrigued with this, but it's pretty fun to actually look at, the details of this. You can see that there's a ball in this corner pocket, a ball in the middle pocket over here. You have a few other balls on the very top as well, and they do stick out. It's actually a pretty cool print, and I am excited the way it came out. I kind of wish that the table legs would have came out a little bit more, defined. So this way we'd be able to have it that way if you didn't want it to look like Venom coming out of a billiards table. So here's everything included: the user guide. You also have the filament guide tube joint, a USB stick. You also have a screwdriver, unclogging tool, some Allen wrenches. You also have the 0.4 265 degrees Celsius nozzle and some grease. So now we're going to take a look at the FlashForge website here in the United States. So it's flashforge-usa.com. So I'll be placing this link below the video inside the description, as well as the Amazon link. Now, inside of this website, we'll be taking a look at just a few different, key areas, some of the main features of this printer. But I also do want to show you just a couple things on the top as well. So underneath materials, you can take a look at filaments. So if you're not really sure exactly which type of filaments to go for, which brand you can take a look at, or where you can purchase them, and you want to make sure that you're just getting something that just works with this 3D printer, here's a really good location you could take a look at it. So they have ABS, they also have PLA, they have a bunch of different areas that you can take a look at all these different colors, things like that. So again, if you're brand new to it, here's a really good page that you can take a look at. And also too, on the top right hand side, I want to show you where it says software. So a little bit later on in this video, right after we get done with this website, I'm going to show you the normal global website where you can go inside of the Flash Cloud. And that Flash Cloud, I'll also place a link below the video inside the description as well, because there is some 3D prints that you can print. But here is some of the software that you can get with this 3D printer. This one right over here on the left hand side, which is Flash Print. This one is a free download. And then over here you have Simplify 3D. It's an all-in-one 3D printing software, and you can get it for $149. So let's go back over into the Adventurer 4. So here's the Adventurer 4. You can see that it sells for $799 US. It is launching here coming up on September 2nd, 2021. Here's a few of the main features, but I do want to show you some of these features a little bit lower, below on this page. So as you scroll on down, you'll be able to read a lot about this printer. You can see a few things that they have also printed off. It has an auto leveling platform with aluminum base. And the thing I love about this one is that, again, there was no setup, there was no leveling, there was nothing you had to do other than just get this thing plugged in, connected to a Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and then get it all basically attached with your computer as a printer. So this way you'd be able to get everything printed off. Now this piece right here, this is the magnetic removable build platform. This one's actually pretty cool. You basically just take it off, you give it a little bit of a twist, and it'll easily come off of that platform. So the main selling points, the main features here is a 4.3-inch touchscreen with high sensitivity. It's also pretty quiet. It says it's 50 decibels, and honestly, I don't really hear this thing printing that much. It's kind of going, but it's nothing that, will disrupt the room that you're in. And also too, versus the Adventurer 3, this is double the size. So it's 220 by 200 by 250 millimeters, or 8 by 7 by 7 by 9 by that 9 by 8 inches. So again, this is double the size of the Adventurer 3. And if you do run into a situation of a power outage, you will have that option to resume printing. It starts off exactly where it stopped. There's also a built-in HD camera if you'd like to monitor the print, and also a filament detection, which the filament detection is really nice with this 3D printer because it is able to simply push out the filament and also reload it when you do change it out. I thought it was going to be harder than it was, and it was very simple. I just went through the 4.3-inch touchscreen display. I stated I wanted to change the filament, and it pushed it out for me. I pushed in the new one. The moment the new filament was coming out, then I basically just hit on continue. And then also too, when it comes down to this this nozzle right here, it is a quick release. So you press to release. So you got to press both of these areas here to release it. And it is also a very fast heat up nozzle itself. Now, as you scroll on down, you can see some of the compatible filaments, which we showed a little bit earlier on, the PLA, PETG, ABS, PC, so on and so forth. You can also take a really good look at some of these as well too, because there is a 0.4 millimeter and a 0.6 millimeter nozzle that can go up to 265 degrees Celsius. They also have a 0.3 and a 0.4 millimeter nozzle that'd be able to push off as 240 degrees Celsius, but it's letting you know which filaments you'd be able to use with these sizes and temperatures. So if you don't know for sure, this is a perfect guide to let you know. And there's also that HEPA 13H air filter system. So it does a really good job with eliminating 99% of the TVOC powder and the activated carbon filter odor. So it does a really good job, and it keeps all the odor inside the machine itself. Below here is all the specifications. So if you're looking for anything that's in depth, very detailed specs, you can take a look right here. And again, I will be placing this website below the video inside the description. So now we're going to head over into the global version of FlashForge.com, because they do have the Flash Cloud that's able to simply be pressed. You're able to go there and you can print some things off from there as well if you don't want to use the software of either Tinkercad, Flash Print, or the Simplify 3D. So that was pretty much it for this website. Now we're going to take a look over at their FlashForge Cloud. So when you take a look at FlashForge.com and you click on this little cloud icon over here, this is where you want to go through and you want to sign in or create your account. So here's the homepage of Flash Cloud. You can see, my printer, you can see my job if there's anything that was going on at the moment. This is also where you can add in your printer. So you just want to take a look at the details of the printer, add it in there. You also have my model, my job, model library. So here's the model library that I wanted to show you. Now there's a lot of really cool things, and this thing always keeps adding on, especially if you have it in the category of all. and the category of latest. So there's a lot of these here that I'm going to take a look at. I'll probably also print a few of these as well. So as you scroll through here, you'd be able to take a look at really whatever you would like to print. There is a couple really funny models on here, and you may even see it pop up here for just a second on one of these screens. But there's a lot of these on here that I do want to take a look at. This is one that is a really good benchmark to do. So this is the 3D Benchy. It's multi-part. It's just to see if it has everything leveled and printing and at the right temperatures, because you'd be able to see and make sure that there is no bubbles. Also to make sure that the windows are intact in there, and also if it's a very smooth outside surface for that boat. Now, as it's loaded in, this is where you can take a look at, what it's supposed to look like. And so from what I was speaking about from before is that you want to make sure that when you do use this one to print, you're taking a look at everything, all the windows, everything is looking good. You also have all of your detailed lines around the edges. You want to make sure there is no bubbles. You also have a little bit of text on the back right up over here. And then as well as this is where the surface I was talking about, that you want to make sure that it is smooth. When you are ready, then you hit over here in the word print. And then from here, you can also go through, you can move it around wherever you would want it to print on your magnetic, plate on the surface. So you can move it around, you can also rotate it, and you can scale it. So if you wanted it to be a little bit bigger or smaller, you'd be able to go through here and you can slide it. So you can see as of right now, it's at 60 millimeter, 31 millimeter by 48 millimeter. If you wanted it any bigger or smaller, you literally, just move this around, and then you can also tap your arrows if you need it to be moved by 1 or 2. This is where I missed it by 1 with my buckle and clip. And so this is where I'm going to go through with that buckle portion, and I'm going to bring it up by 1 or 2 just to make sure that it does work. And you can also go through your print settings. So through the print settings, this is where I'm gonna start learning more and more from here, but pretty much all my prints were standard. You can go through and you can make it a high quality where it's going to print it just a little bit slower, and you can also go to hyper fine. And then down over here, you can take a look at the speeds, the temp, and others. So I did play with the temperature from before. Again, still a beginner, still learning, but as a beginner and as a learner here, it makes it very simple and easy, and I am pretty, impressed and happy with the results. But I do know for a fact that as I keep playing with it, they're going to get better and better. And then if you have everything set up the way that you want it, then you just hit on this print button. It's going to send it over to your printer. Then it's going to start printing. So now we're going to head over into Tinkercad, because I wanted to show you another thing you'd be able to take a look at. Now their gallery is pretty large. It has a lot more things inside of here. Here's that 8-ball table that I was trying to print off. And actually the legs were at an angle, and for some reason it just didn't come out, like that. But if there is anything in here that you guys are looking to, to print off, you basically click on it. And then you go to download, and if you wanted to download it, pretty much all of mine that I've printed so far was the file format of .stl. So a couple of the other ones I have not done just yet. This one's for laser cutting. So I have not done .object or .obj just yet. So far, everything has been STL. So if you do download any of these files, then what's going to happen is that you will just pretty much head over into your Flash Cloud. You go inside of My Model, and then this is where you go to upload model, and then this is where you can store it. And so you can see here I have a sci-fi jet that I am going to print off here pretty soon. And then here's that 8-ball pool table that I also printed. And then really that's pretty much about it. You'd be able to go through, find a whole bunch of different 3D prints if you wanted to go after it inside of Tinkercad. You can also do all of this here inside of the Flash Cloud right over this way. There's a lot of really cool things. The only thing I gotta say is that I feel like this website could go just a little bit faster. Sometimes it's a little slower. This is also one that's really fun to play with, is the screw and the nut as well, if you guys wanted to have something functional. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool things. If you guys are looking for masks, there's also masks inside of here. There's also, I think, Pikachu and Charmander, and just a whole bunch of really cool things inside of this one if you guys are looking for those characters as well. So I do believe that there should be probably a update for this printer that I'd be able to install, and it probably could fix a few of the issues I've had between this one where the table legs was not really defined in there. Also too, maybe it could have helped this guy out as well. But again, it's a brand new printer that I have, and so I just have to push off an update onto it. So I hope you guys have liked what you've seen. That's pretty much it for today's video. Now, I am a beginner. Everything you've seen was from just the beginner standpoint, somebody who is not an expert just yet. If you guys are looking for somebody who knows a lot about 3D printing, I will be placing my buddy's YouTube channel below the video inside the description, EBP Man. I also believe that he has this printer as well because he has a bunch of different printers and he has a lot of really good experience with this. So if you guys want to take a look at it, I'll be placing them below the video inside the description. And also too, this is my thoughts. This is my views on it. I'm a really big fan of this printer. It's something that's enclosed, something that's quiet, something that is also safe and really easy to use, which is really everything that I was looking for, as well as something that was already pre-built. Everything was already there, no assembly required. So if you guys are interested in the FlashForge Adventurer 4 3D printer, I'll be placing all the links you need to know below the video inside the description. And other than that, I'll see you guys later.